give me nothing. Nothing. What do you...
Peace, world. It's Sincere right here. So, what we have going on is there's a big debate in the ball python community and the animal community and all over the world. The debate is live feeding versus frozen thaw feeding. There's one big group of people that feel feeding an animal, live feeding, is animal cruelty. And then there's another big group of people that feel frozen thaw is perfectly fine. Well, this is Sincere right here, and I feel that I should try to at least teach y'all my concept on these animals. So here we go. Peace, world. So this is Sincere right here with SinStyle Reptiles. And today, I'm going to start off with this young lady here. She's got aspen on her face, which is, I'm going to talk about aspen in another video, but yeah. I'm going to start off with this young lady right here. Her name is Zena. Zena is a female. When I bought her from Petco. Bought her and they said she was a pastel. I didn't know anything about pastel. I just know I wanted my first pet snake. And this was my first pet snake. She's just under 2 years. And let me explain something to y'all folks. She went on a break from eating. Or should I say she went on a fast. The snake didn't eat for about 4 to 5 months. And I was nervous. I thought it was the temperatures was off. I thought maybe she just wasn't happy. I thought, oh man, she's dying. She was eating mice. And she was used to mice. So she was eating basically like 2 mice a week. Or every 2 weeks sometimes, just 2 mice, or 1 mice a week, and then another mouse another week, you know. So she was eating, but like that. I saw she started picking up weight, and I decided to give her a pup rat, and she ate it, and she actually enjoyed it, and she was full. And then she stopped. That was her last meal for about 4 months. I don't know if that meal held her down for that long. I didn't know anything. According to what I figured out now, I think she went into breeding mode, which I didn't know until now. And I think that's why she stopped eating, because now she's eating again. But I started her off with large mice, because I don't want to go to the big rat yet, because I did put a rat pup in the tank with her, and she didn't want it. But she went to town on the mice. So we're going to keep the mice. Which leads me into the reason for this video. This video is going to be about paying attention to your animal, your ball python, and what it eats, why it's not eating, and what to feed it. That's what this video is about. So I'll show you different animals and different phases of how they've been reacting to food, and what to do if your animal goes on a fast, or if they're eating a lot, if you're keeping your animal as a pet, or if you're keeping your animal for breeding. I'm going to tell you all about all of this in this video right here. So y'all stay tuned. This is Sincere right here with SinStyle Reptiles. Yeah. So basically what we got to focus on is, does my python like live rodents versus frozen thawed? Sometimes your python may not, your ball python may not want a live rodent. Maybe it's just, you'd rather it dead, and I want to say kind of lazy, want the work done for it, as long as it's warm enough, and then they'll creep up on it and then just start doing what it has to do. And then there's other ball pythons that wouldn't even touch it. Just keep walking around, leave it alone. It's all on the animal itself. It's never on what you want it to do. Because I'm going to tell you straight up, you may have a ball python that does not want frozen thawed and will go months and months and months and months and months without eating. Eventually, that snake is going to get hungry enough, it's going to bite you or die. Now, you can't just sit back and let that snake go off of feeding for all these months, because you know it's not eating what you're trying to offer it. So before you realize that this snake is going to a fast, you do need to try other techniques, such as smaller rats, larger rats, large mice, smaller mice, frozen, live. Because like I said, every one of these animals have their own personality. I have several of them, and it took me to have a few of them to understand this, because I was strictly sticking to one routine all across the board. And now that I have different types and learned different personalities and learned them the right kind of a way, some just don't like frozen thawed. Some just don't like live. Some just don't like the big ones. Some don't like the little ones. So, peace. So when it comes to ball pythons, you can have so many different varieties of pythons. You can have so many different sizes. You know, you can have so many different, patterns, and they all have their own individual personalities. Each one of these pythons all have their own individual personalities. Some like mice, some like rats, some like both. Some, they just like being alone. Some like being around a lot of different pythons. The males can't be around each other because they like to fight. The females, they like to be, they're nocturnal. They like to eat in the night. That's very important. Remember that. So if you're feeding your animal in the day and it's not eating, maybe you need to try to feed it in the night. And it might just work. Bedding. I use different types of beddings, trying to just, figure out what each animal likes. I use the aspen, I use the reptile chips, I try paper. I'm doing different things for different animals because each one acts different with different environments. Why am I talking about environments? Environments are very, very important when it comes to these reptiles. If they're not happy, they're not going to eat. If they're not going to eat, they're going to get skinny, and eventually they will die. You have to make sure that these animals are happy. You have to make sure that these animals will eat. So you have to make sure that they're comfortable. And make sure they're not afraid of their prey. I'm going to show you a video of a situation where the mouse, actually, the rat is too big for the animal. And you'll see what goes on. Because in fact, if the animal is too big, the rat is too big for the animal, that rat can actually end up killing your animal. There was no animals harmed in this video, but I just wanted to use it as, proof to show you size does matter, because they won't just kill any rodent. You know what I mean? So stay tuned. So what we have here is, I decided to put one of my large rats in with each individual python that was up to size. And I know this rat is a lot bigger than what they're used to, but I know that this one here in particular was hungry. So I just wanted to see if he was going to attempt to try to get it. And if you really pay attention, he did. He did. He attempted a few times. This rat was obviously ready. You can see the rat waving his head left to right. The rat was very territorial. He started pushing the dirt up to keep the snake away from it. The rat stayed back in the corner with the bowl protecting it. Eventually, I moved the bowl out of the tank. I did not let the rat bite my snake. My snake did not bite the rat either. They headbutted a couple of times, a few stare downs, but the snake ultimately did not attack this rat. What eventually happened was the rat and the snake seemed like they drew boundaries in this tank, and the rat kept one side and the snake kept another. And found it really interesting. It was very cool. I watched it for about 15 minutes and then I switched up animals. So I'm gonna stop right here and I'm gonna fast forward it a little bit for y'all to see something. Okay, so now at this part, what we have is my Super Stripe decided to get close to the rat and he's preying on him. So he's trying to corner the rat and the rat picked up on it. So the rat is like, wait a minute, I see you. So now the rat is trying to ward it away with his wave, his left to right. Rat takes back his positioning. And the python is really, you may not think, but the python is trying to position his body in a way where it can size up on his rat. And I know that he feels that the rat is a little bit too big. I can tell. Because he tries. He makes several attempts. And every time he makes an attempt, this rat gets on guard and watch it come back again. He's coming again. The rat sees it, gets back on guard. He backs off. The rat gets in position and he plays it off. He comes back again, but at the same time, you're gonna see something, and I think it's educational. Because what people do is they'll take a rat that's too big for their snakes, and they'll put it in the tank, walk away from it, and leave it. Come back later, and you may find their snake dead, and the rat may just be eating that dead snake. So what's very important in this video right here, especially in this scene that I'm showing you, is that you must know the right size of rodent for your python. And you should observe too, because if your python is not hungry, it will shy off, go into a ball, and if that rodent is hungry, it will start eating on that python or your pet snake. So you see he's waving. He's giving that warning, don't mess with me. That's the rat. He waved left to right to let that snake know, don't bother me. Then he stops. But this snake is determined, look at that, face off. And now the rat is like, hold up, he ain't backing off. So the rat knew he was in trouble, so the rat had to reposition itself. We're gonna see him go back over there. See the rat take his position, he wave left to right. The rat gets brave and backed him off. I'm gonna stop right there. Watch them snakes. This is my Cuban link. This is my every link. This right here. This is my chain. I got 7 chains. Probably gonna get 8. Build, destroy. Y'all can't tell me nothing. It's pre-rules.
Homicide scenes, more money, more problems for you and me. It ain't easy. We need to get together.